So hey, what's up guys, this is AK, and you are watching my YouTube channel AKM. So guys, welcome back to a brand new tips and tricks video of PUBG Mobile. Bad habits are one of the biggest reasons players stop improving in PUBG Mobile. Most people think they need better aim, better sensitivity, or better movement, but that is usually not the real problem. The real problem is that they keep making small mistakes every single match without even realizing it. These mistakes slowly destroy their consistency. They lose fights they should have won, they get eliminated by average players, and they wonder why they are not improving. The good news is that these habits are very easy to fix once you recognize them. Today I am going to show you 10 common mistakes that quietly kill your gameplay, and I will also explain the correct habit that experienced players naturally follow. These are practical tips that you can apply in your very next match, and once they become part of your gameplay, you will notice yourself surviving longer, winning more fights, and making much smarter decisions. So let us begin with the first mistake. The first mistake is reloading after every fight. This is one of the most common habits in PUBG Mobile. The moment players fire a few bullets, they instantly reload without even thinking about it. The reason this happens is because reloading feels safe. Players want a full magazine before the next fight. The problem is that PUBG Mobile is a fast-paced game, and another enemy can appear at any moment. If someone pushes while you are stuck in the reload animation, you cannot shoot back. That one automatic reload often becomes the reason you lose the fight. Instead, look at the situation first. If your magazine still has enough bullets to win another fight, keep your weapon ready. Reload only when you know you are safe, or quickly switch to your second weapon if another enemy appears. Imagine you knock one player inside a compound. Before you reload, another teammate rushes through the door. Because you kept your weapon ready, you immediately eliminate the second player. If you had started reloading, you would have been an easy knock. Breaking this habit makes you much more prepared for back-to-back fights, especially during squad battles where enemies rarely attack one at a time. Now let us move on to the second mistake. The second mistake is chasing every knocked enemy. Many players see a knock and instantly rush forward because they want to secure the elimination. The problem is that experienced squads expect this. They intentionally leave the knocked player in the open because they know someone will push without thinking. Instead of chasing the knock, stop for a second and gather information. Ask yourself where the remaining teammates could be hiding. Look for movement, listen for footsteps, and only push when you know the situation is under control. Imagine you knock one enemy near a warehouse. Instead of sprinting straight toward the knock, you stay behind cover and wait. A few seconds later another enemy peeks to revive their teammate. Because you stayed patient, you eliminate the second player first and then finish the rest of the squad. Patience wins far more fights than rushing. Smart players eliminate the entire squad, not just the knocked player. Now let us talk about the third mistake. The third mistake is fighting without proper cover. Many players stand in the open while shooting because they are completely focused on hitting their target. This usually happens during exciting fights. Players stop paying attention to their own position and only think about eliminating the enemy. The problem is that even if you win the fight, someone else can easily knock you because you have nowhere to protect yourself. Before taking any fight, always ask yourself where your nearest cover is. Fight from behind trees, rocks, walls, vehicles, or buildings whenever possible. Expose only a small part of your character while shooting, then move back into cover. For example, imagine you are fighting on Erangel near several trees. Instead of standing in the open, you stay behind a tree and only peek long enough to fire a few accurate shots. Your opponent has to expose almost their entire body while you only expose a small portion of yours. That immediately gives you a much better chance of winning. Good positioning reduces the amount of damage you take, keeps you alive longer, and makes every fight feel much easier. Those were the first three mistakes, but the next mistakes are even more important because they affect almost every single match, even for experienced players. Now let us continue with the next mistake. The fourth mistake is sprinting everywhere. Many players stay on the sprint button all the time. They sprint through compounds, around buildings, and even when they know enemies are nearby. The reason is simple. Sprinting feels faster, and players think reaching the enemy quickly will give them an advantage. The problem is that sprinting creates loud footsteps. Good players are always listening. Before you even see them, they already know which direction you are coming from. That gives them enough time to pre-aim your position and prepare for the fight. The better habit is to slow down whenever you are close to buildings, compounds, or any place where enemies might be hiding. Walk when you need information, then sprint only when it is safe. Imagine you are approaching a compound in Erangel. Instead of running straight to the building, you slow down outside the wall. You suddenly hear footsteps on the second floor. Now you know exactly where the enemy is before they know your position. That information allows you to choose a better angle instead of walking into an ambush. Moving at the right speed gives you more information, and information wins more fights than speed. Now let us move on to the fifth mistake. The fifth mistake is attacking before collecting information. This is something almost every player does. The moment they spot an enemy, they start pushing without thinking about where the rest of the squad is or what advantages the enemy might have. Players usually make this mistake because they become overconfident after spotting one opponent. They assume it is an easy fight. The problem is that PUBG Mobile is all about decision making. One visible enemy does not mean they are alone. There could be teammates watching different angles, waiting for someone to push. Before taking any fight, quickly ask yourself a few simple questions. Where are the other enemies? What cover do they have? If this fight goes wrong, where can I safely move? For example, you spot one player behind a rock. Instead of rushing immediately, you wait for a few seconds. Another teammate appears behind a nearby tree. Now you know it is a crossfire. Instead of pushing into it, you rotate to a different angle where both enemies cannot shoot you at the same time. Collecting information before attacking helps you make smarter decisions, survive longer, and avoid unnecessary mistakes. Now let us talk about the sixth mistake. The sixth mistake is focusing on one enemy for too long. This is called tunnel vision, and it causes many avoidable eliminations. When players start shooting at one target, they become completely focused on finishing that fight. They stop checking their surroundings, they stop looking at other angles, and they completely forget about possible third parties. The result is that another enemy appears from the side or behind, and the fight ends before they even have time to react. Instead, make it a habit to quickly scan your surroundings after every few shots. Even a quick look to your left and right can help you notice another player before they become a threat. Imagine you are fighting one enemy near a hill. After firing a short burst, you quickly check your surroundings and notice another player rotating behind a rock. Because you spotted them early, you immediately change your position and avoid getting trapped between two enemies. Building this habit makes your awareness much stronger, and awareness is one of the biggest differences between average players and experienced players. Now let us move on to the seventh mistake. The seventh mistake is peeking from the same angle again and again. This is one of the easiest habits for skilled players to punish. Many players get into a fight, peek from one side, take damage, then repeat the exact same peek hoping they will win the next gunfight. The reason is that players think they only lost because their aim was slightly off. The real problem is that the enemy already knows where you will appear. They are already aiming at that exact spot before you even peek again. Instead of repeating the same angle, reposition first. Change the side you peek from, move to different cover, or wait for the enemy to make the next move. Imagine you are fighting around a large rock. You peek from the left side and take heavy damage. Instead of peeking left again, you quietly move to the right side while healing. The enemy keeps aiming at your old position. When you appear from the opposite side, they need time to adjust their aim, and that small delay gives you the winning advantage. Changing your angle makes you unpredictable. The harder you are to predict, the harder you are to eliminate. We have now covered 7 mistakes that quietly destroy consistency. The final 3 mistakes are just as important, and fixing them will make your decision-making much smarter, especially during the final circles where every choice matters. Now let us move on to the 8th mistake. The 8th mistake is staying in the open after getting a knock. Many players knock one enemy and immediately stand in the same place because they want to finish the elimination. They become so focused on the knocked player that they completely forget about the rest of the squad. The reason this happens is because securing the elimination feels rewarding. But experienced players know that a knocked teammate is often used as bait. The better habit is to reposition as soon as you get a knock. Move to another piece of cover, change your angle, and expect the remaining teammates to challenge you. For example, imagine you knock one player behind a vehicle. Instead of standing there and trying to finish them immediately, you move behind a nearby wall. A few seconds later, their teammate peeks the exact spot where you were standing. Since you already changed your position, you catch them off guard and secure another easy elimination. Remember, winning the squad fight is always more important than finishing one knocked player. Repositioning after a knock keeps you unpredictable and gives you control of the fight. Now let us talk about the ninth mistake. The ninth mistake is fighting without an escape plan. Many players commit to every fight as if they have no other choice. Once they start shooting, they keep pushing even when the situation becomes worse. This usually happens because players panic. They feel like backing away means they are losing. In reality, the best players know when to disengage. They understand that surviving is always more valuable than forcing a bad fight. Before you commit to any engagement, quickly think about where you will move if things go wrong. Identify your nearest cover, a building, a ridge, or a smoke position that can help you reset the fight. Imagine you are fighting on a hillside. Suddenly another squad starts shooting from behind. Instead of staying trapped between both teams, you immediately fall back behind the ridge, heal, and rotate to a safer position. Instead of getting eliminated, you give yourself another chance to win the match. Having an escape plan keeps you calm under pressure, and calm players make better decisions. Now let us move on to the final mistake. The 10th mistake is playing only for eliminations instead of playing for position. This is one of the biggest differences between average players and consistently strong players. Many players see every enemy as a fight they must take. They leave strong positions, chase eliminations across open ground, and ignore the safe zone. The problem is that every unnecessary fight increases your chances of getting third-partied or caught in a bad position. Experienced players think differently. They value strong positioning more than one extra elimination. They know that having better cover, higher ground, or an early rotation often wins fights before they even begin. For example, the next safe zone appears on a hill with several rocks. Instead of chasing a distant enemy, you rotate early and secure the strongest position. A few minutes later, multiple squads are forced to push uphill while you already have cover and the better angle. You win the fight because of your position, not because of better aim. Positioning gives you consistent advantages throughout the match, and consistency is what helps you win more games over time. So let us quickly go over all the habits we covered today. Stop reloading after every fight unless you are safe. Do not chase every knocked enemy without gathering information first. Always fight from cover instead of standing in the open. Slow down when approaching dangerous areas so you can hear enemies before they hear you. Collect information before pushing instead of rushing blindly. Avoid tunnel vision and keep checking your surroundings during every fight. Never keep peeking from the same angle after the enemy knows your position. Reposition after getting a knock instead of staying exposed. Always have an escape plan before committing to a fight. Finally, play for strong positioning instead of chasing every elimination. These habits may seem small on their own, but together they completely change the way you play PUBG Mobile. You will make smarter decisions, survive longer, win more squad fights, and become much more consistent in every match. The best players are not just better at aiming. They are better at making the right decisions at the right time. Build these habits into your gameplay, and you will notice the difference every time you drop into a match. So guys, that was all for today's video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more PUBG Mobile tips, aiming guides, movement tutorials, and practical gameplay advice that will help you improve faster. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.